Let me start this video very specifically. Kendra and I are not moving away. That's the biggest takeaway from all of this. I don't know how many of you are worried about that. Currently, there are no plans to move. I just want that understood. Let's get into the video. So by now, a lot of you probably know or have heard or, whatever, that I am no longer on staff at church, and that's true. I put in my 2 weeks notice at the beginning of February, and so by the time you're seeing this video, I have already had my last day, my last couple of Sundays, and am now, in fact, today, while I'm recording this, is the first Sunday that I've had off in years. We slept in, Kendra and I did. We turned it into a fun thing, into like a little celebration. Every time I've missed a Sunday has either been because someone died, I was sick, or I was out of town. Today's the first time I've just slept in, healthy, and feeling good. A little healthy. I'm having bad allergies and my throat's a little messed up, so you can probably hear that. It's fine. But I wanted to make this video to help quell any rumors, to help nip anything in the bud that might be unhealthy toward this whole situation. There's bound to be a lot of questions, there's bound to be a lot of confusion, and I don't want that to get in the way of the ministry still happening at church and in any relationships that I have with any of you. So I'm sure by now you've read the title of the video, and I want to clarify that this is not a vindictive video. This in no way is going to be some kind of, I'm exposing the secrets of the church, and if you're still going there, head for the hills. Like, that's not what this is at all. That's not even close to what this is. I just wanted to share my reasoning behind me stepping down so that any questions and confusion, like I said, can be helped. Hopefully, I would love to help. At the same time, I also don't expect everyone who's watching this video to agree with my mindset and the reasons that I have for the decisions that I've made. That's okay if you don't agree. This is merely just an explanation. I want it to at least be clear that whether you agree with me or not, or understand or not, I didn't make any of these decisions on a whim. It's all been through constant sleepless nights and prayer. I've felt that over the course of the last year, the decisions that I've made, this decision to step down from staff is the best thing that I can do for myself, for my wife, for our mental health, for our marriage, all of that kind of thing. I also want to say that in case it isn't entirely clear, I have stepped down completely from the staff at church and from the elder board. I resigned, gave my 2 weeks notice. When the announcement was made in church, the way it was worded, it kind of made it seem like myself and the other staff member who stepped down as well were simply kind of stepping back from some things. It kind of made it sound a lot less than it actually is. The other staff member and myself have fully resigned and stepped back from staff. We are no longer on staff anymore. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear in case it wasn't. The theme of this video is clarification. So here we go. I have basically 3 main reasons for why I stepped down. The first one, probably the smallest contributor to the whole situation, I want to start with, and that's that I've started a new journey in film school. I have always been fascinated with filmmaking and the power that filmmaking has to tell stories and to affect people's lives. And I think that Jesus needs to be there. He needs to be represented in filmmaking. There needs to be filmmaking ministry. And there are filmmaking ministries out there already. Don't hear me wrong. I want to be able to be in that industry doing my best as if I'm doing it for Jesus, because of course I'm doing it for Jesus, and for people to see what it is that I'm doing and come to an understanding of how good Jesus is through me. That's the main thing. And so I thought that film school would be a good way to do that. I've already done a vlog about my first month or week, or I don't even remember now. So you can check that out if you'd like. I'm gonna be taking you on that journey with me. In fact, pray for me if you wouldn't mind, because not only am I starting a new journey in film school, but I've got and have big dreams for that. I have big dreams for ministry in the future, for what that could mean for me and what I want to do on that front. I don't want to talk too much about that right now because I don't have a whole lot figured out myself, but just know that part of why I stepped down from the church is because I have some pretty large dreams for the future, and I felt like I needed to take better steps in that direction. The next two reasons are fairly the same size, and they kind of have a lot to do with each other. So I'm going to do my best to kind of explain them right now. The money at church got a little funny. Money is always a weird topic to discuss. It's never easy. And I hope that none of you clicked away from the video just now because I mentioned money. As awkward as the money conversation can be, the money at church hasn't been doing as good as it has in the past. And so that forced the leadership to make some pretty difficult decisions. And while I don't necessarily agree with the solutions that they came to, I do understand that everything is in a financial mess right now. Everything, everywhere, all at once. My hours and salary at the church were going to be cut drastically down in order to help with the current, financial situation. And I get that. What that means for me, though, is that I have to be able to figure out how to make all of that financial loss up in my own life. I wanted to be able to have the freedom to do that in whatever way I felt was best for myself and for my wife and I, for my family. And still being on staff, still having that weight there was going to stop me, I felt, from being able to make the best decisions for my wife and I. So while I could have remained on staff in some form of capacity, I just didn't want to keep myself attached to something that I felt was going to get in the way of our financial health. Now, my final main reason for why I stepped down is that I honestly started to feel incompatible with the way that the leadership of the church was implementing their vision. That sounds really cerebral and very kind of haughty language, but it's true. Over the last year, I haven't felt really like we were meshing as a team. Our personalities didn't really get along with each other super well. It wasn't working as well as I think we all hoped that it would. And it felt like it was going to work at the beginning. But, over the course of the last year or so, it's been kind of becoming increasingly more obvious that we're just not lining up. And to be honest, that put me in a constant state of anxiety for a long time. I was worried about if I was interpreting things correctly, if I was thinking correctly. At one point, I questioned if ministry was even what I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to be doing. It all kind of got really hard to carry there for a while. And so that's when I started considering stepping down from staff in order, if for nothing else, in order to keep my mental health afloat. Nobody is perfect. I don't expect anyone to be perfect. I don't expect myself to be perfect. And all of us there on staff and in the leadership at Calvary have made mistakes. Of course we have. I'm not trying to say that any one of us is better than anyone else or is smarter than anyone else or anything like that. I just know that I felt the need to make a pretty significant change when it comes to my involvement with the leadership at the church due to this implementation of vision and how I didn't feel like I really lined up with it. Please don't hear me wrong. Sunday mornings have been great. I have loved being a part of the ministry on Sunday mornings and throughout the week. This is all weird behind the scenes stuff that most people don't know about or talk about, and I don't want that to be freaky or in any way. If anyone from the leadership of the church is watching this video, I don't want them to feel like I'm trying to belittle anything. That's not what's happening here. I just hope that this kind of clarifies my reasoning specifically. Kendra and I absolutely love the people at the church. We love getting to be a part of ministry with you. We have loved getting to be a part of ministry to you and with you. We just felt like it was time for something else, for something different. And I hope that can be understood by all of you. We're not just cut and dry dipping from the church. Yeah, I'm no longer on staff. And yes, we didn't go to church today, but I'll be back next week. And Kendra has to work, but I'll be there. I'll be there in a service. I'll just be a congregant, and hopefully that's all right. I want to bring the Bible into this. I want to bring Jesus into this conversation because I want you guys to know that I've been doing that. This, like I said, this was through a lot of prayer and a lot of seeking Jesus in this and trying to figure out what the best thing to do is and asking his opinion on things. During the build up to me making this decision, I one morning read Psalm 121, which is very famous, and it says, I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And that served as a great comfort to me, but I decided to keep reading, and in Psalm 122, at the end of Psalm 122, the next psalm, there's two verses that really stood out to me, and it's kind of what I want to leave this conversation with. Psalm 122, verses 8 and 9 is, "For the sake of my brothers and companions, I will say, peace be within you. And for the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good." And so I want that to be understood, that I want peace for everyone in this situation. I want peace for the church. I want peace for the ministry going on there. I want peace in all of our hearts, for all of the staff, for all of the leadership. I want peace for the sake of the house of the Lord our God. I will seek his good. And I know that the church is continuing to seek his good as well. This is not a cancel video. This is just my honest heart in all of this. For my brothers and companions' sake, I want peace. That's it. So if you still have any questions or confusion after watching this video, please, feel free to reach out to me. I'd like to help guide you through that. I'm not trying to hide anything here, and I hope that's coming across. I don't want there to be any weirdness. So here it is. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my story. We'll see ya.